Caitlin Clark was scoring 32. Jason Whitlock texted the chat. Oh man, all of these free throws. It's just too many free throws.
When it comes to being on the homeschool, quote unquote, not theoretically, but in sports, all that matters is what happens on the court or on the field. The fans can trash you. The fans can celebrate you.
You thought the Fever were going to win. I thought they were going to.
Never a story unless she doesn't play up to what you
better. Is she always going to struggle as a leader, Maurice?
Haven't heard about any locker room issues with actual players, former players, current players. Pull out and play y'all starting five versus our starting five. Between Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston, I think you got enough firepower to.
Right out of the gate, Maurice pushes back hard on the idea that Iowa didn't prepare Clark for the WNBA, pointing out she carried real, nightly pressure to deliver for her team in a way some of her peers, like Paige Buchers at UConn, simply didn't have to. That's a fair, substantive basketball argument about roster construction and pressure, not just a hot take.
For technical fouls, that's a problem. Obviously, that's a problem. But I haven't heard about any locker room issues with actual players, former players, current players. I don't see any issues. All I know is the Indiana Fever, they're not a championship team. That Minnesota Lynx team you saw, you're going to be hard pressed to find somebody that's going to.
This is a preview. And here's the actual media criticism angle driving this whole segment. The claim that Fearless went an entire 10-show stretch, from mid-July into early August, without playing a single Caitlin Clark highlight while she was averaging 29 points and 9 assists a game. That's a specific, checkable claim about editorial choices, not just vibes.
Does have an impact, and if Michael Jordan were playing now, and some of these other athletes you were, Kobe was playing now in his peak right now, I think it would have some influence. Maybe not ultimate influence, but some influence.
Caitlin Clark has 3.9 million followers on Instagram, according to what I see. There's a cult of people against her. There's a cult of people for her. Everybody has something to say. All of you are noise, as opposed to the
45-point, 10-assist, double-double reference here is completely real. Clark set that mark on July 17th against Seattle, the first 40-10 game in WNBA history, and it's confirmed by ESPN, Yahoo, and the league's own site. If a real historic performance like that doesn't get discussed on a major sports debate show, that's a legitimate editorial choice worth questioning.
Caitlin Clark on the basketball court is never a story unless she doesn't play up to what you believe the standard is. 45-point double-doubles don't matter. Nothing matters until it's only a story when she does not play up to your standard. It's been proven.
If she had a 45-point double-double yesterday against Minnesota, I guarantee that'd be all we'd be talking about today.
The frustration about fan-signed discourse getting more airtime than a 32-point, 11-assist game is a real, specific media priorities complaint, and it's the kind of thing that's genuinely worth holding a national sports show accountable for, regardless of how you feel about Clark personally.
We never talk about the 32 points. Ironically, the one time in over 3 weeks where she has 19 points and 10 assists, and I agree, she was the fourth best guard on the court in that game. I'm not refuting that. But the one time you feel like she didn't meet the bill is the only time a highlight ever gets played on the show. It's been 10 shows where the girl averaged 30 and 10. Oh, because I know Dre, he used to talk about percentages because, they pulled this little trick on me with the Atlanta Dream third quarter. They waited until one bad third quarter to actually.
The stats cited here, a stretch shooting 55% from the floor, 46% from three, 90% from the line, is the kind of efficiency number that would dominate coverage for almost any other player in any other sport, and the pushback about it getting ignored until one below-average game happens is a fair, pattern-based critique of selective coverage.
46 from three, 90% from the free throw line. They refuse to talk about it. All of a sudden, she's homeschooled because she had 19 and
now it's homeschool, Maurice. Now it's homeschool.
It's insanity.
And they dragged me out.
Jason
and they
Whitlock.
dragged me out.
I knew Whitlock was up to something. I called him yesterday. He refused to answer my call. I knew he was up to no good. I knew it.
That is gaslighting in the highest form, what you just did right there. That is mind-boggling how you just did that, man. I knew it some.
The free throw double standard call-out is worth sitting with, pointing out that Aja Wilson scored 36 points on 14 free throws with zero criticism about the volume, while Clark drawing contact gets framed as somehow suspicious, is exactly the kind of inconsistency that's fair to call out in real time.
Great. You put my question up about, is she always going to struggle to be a leader? That's my question. And you have to acknowledge maybe she has some leadership problems. Maurice, you may think she doesn't have any. I do. I think there's growth as a leader that I think she's capable of. I think she's trying. But I'm putting a little bit more pressure on her because I think she can do better. Is she always going to struggle as a leader, Maurice?
No, I don't really see.
Dre's homeschooled analogy is actually a thoughtful basketball point once you get past the loaded label. The idea that some players who never face real adversity in college can get exposed once real competition arrives in the pros. It's a real basketball development theory, not an insult, even if the framing got heated in the moment.
The fearless producers don't learn how to find actual basketball highlights again. This is incredible. This is actually incredible. Virgil, check this out. It's August 3rd. July 17th. It's been 10 shows. I counted myself. During a 10-show stretch in which Caitlin Clark averaged 29 points and 9 assists, not a single highlight was played on this platform. It's insanity. And the point is proven over and over again. You would think, Virgil, after a 45-point.
The signal versus noise breakdown here is genuinely one of the smarter points in this whole segment. 3.9 million Instagram followers, a cult of supporters, and a cult of critics, and the argument that none of that actually matters compared to what happens on the court. That's solid, level-headed media advice for any athlete under this kind of scrutiny.
Nothing matters until it's only a story when she does not play up to your standard. It's been proven.
If she had a 45-point double-double yesterday against Minnesota, I guarantee that'd be all we'd be talking about today. I guarantee you that we'd be talking about that. But let me say something, because I don't want this to slip by, because I know Maurice realizes this, and it's to Jason's point here. When he said something about the free throws Friday night, when he texted about that, you mentioned that. And you know where I'm going to. Here's my...
The Game of Thrones hate watch analogy is a fair defense of tough love criticism. The idea that pointing out flaws in something you genuinely care about isn't the same as hating it. Whether or not you buy that as a full defense of the specific commentary being discussed, it's a reasonable framework for how sports criticism is supposed to work.
Doesn't have any. I do. I think there's growth as a leader that I think she's capable of. I think she's trying. But I'm putting a little bit more pressure on her because I think she can do better. Is she always going to struggle as a leader, Maurice?
No, I don't really see a problem outside of her on court. Well, she gets suspended for technical fouls, that's a problem. Obviously, that's a problem. But I haven't heard about any locker room issues with actual players, former players, current players. I don't see any issue.
The basketball analysis here is legitimate and stat supported. Indiana can run up the score against bottom feeder and middle-of-the-pack teams while getting away with real defensive lapses, like the 16 offensive rebounds they gave up to Seattle, but they genuinely haven't beaten the league's upper echelon teams consistently this season. That's a real, fair critique independent of any media coverage debate.
It's more than capable that the other one may play better, because they're all good players. And so it's the moment of truth. It's who's ready to play that day. And yesterday was Minnesota's day. But this team, here's the problem you got to fix in Indiana, and there's no way of getting around this. Let me say this. You had 4 high-level guards playing at a high level yesterday, all right? And then in the moment of truth, or when the rubber...
The free throw pattern argument gets sharper here. pointing out Clark didn't shoot a single non-technical free throw in a specific recent game, then connecting it to a broader claim that officiating tightens up specifically against elite defensive teams like Minnesota. Calling specific officiating fraudulent is a strong opinionated word choice worth flagging as opinion rather than a proven fact, but the underlying pattern of inconsistent whistle rates by opponent is a real, trackable stat worth investigating further.
Got to fix in Indiana, and there's no way of getting around this. Let me say this. You had 4 high-level guards playing at a high level yesterday, all right? And then in the moment of truth, or when the rubber hit the road, as Virgil said, in the last minute and a half where you're playing possession for possession, one of them guards had to come out every time her team was on defense. And that's a problem.
That is a problem. Dre, you got something?
Defense wins championship.
And the closing basketball breakdown is genuinely solid analysis, crediting Minnesota's ball screen defense, Cheryl Reeves' coaching, and real roster depth advantages, while still making the case that Indiana's top 3 talent can compete with anybody if everything clicks. That's a nuanced, credible take, not just a hot take for the sake of engagement.
I'm going to agree, particularly on the defensive end, in terms of there are moments out there where you can legitimately question Caitlin's effort on the defensive end, where she is standing flat-footed, has no interest in boxing anyone out. She's just a spectator. And it's you can see it. It's like it's an effort thing. Hey,